Brad, you're how special? How do you view this season? Guys, everyone's back. You signed Marcus. There's no contract issue. It seems like this is the team that you kind of wanted since you've been here. And how do you kind of, is that true? And how do you kind of take focus on that? That it could change in the future, but this year, this could be a special season.
Yeah, and I think that's why I think you have such a focus on getting to playing well, and playing as well as you can, and realizing that it is still a long season. There's going to be a lot of bumps in the road. There's going to be some times where you're feeling better about yourself than you should, and trying to avoid that and moving on and becoming the best version of ourselves. We've got a lot of with the reintegrating those guys. I think that's going to be the early part of the challenge because of how it affects everybody from a playing standpoint. And so we just got to do the best that we can at making sure that we're all moving in one direction, we're all on the same page. And we recognize again that some nights are going to be our nights, other nights are going to be other guys' nights. But collectively we can have a good team if we keep the course.
It's a great problem to have too much depth or a lot of depth as opposed to not enough.
Yeah, I mean, I think you always want more depth. The reality is there's when we were playing in the playoffs last year, we probably didn't have as many curveballs that we could throw because we weren't, we had a number of guys. Not only did we have a number of guys out, we didn't have enough to decide if anybody was inactive or not by the end of it, But I think so anytime that you have more depth, you have more options. But the other side of that is when you don't have as much, everybody knows what they're going to get to do every night, and that's the challenging part. We're all empathetic to that. At the same time, the main thing's the main thing, and that's to win the next game.
Do you?
So in this league now, teams have gotten really good at resting their great players during the course of the season. I don't think you ever had that luxury before.
It's happened organically.
Right.
Yeah.
What about this year? Is it something that you'll look into for guys?
I mean, we've done that with Al on a number of occasions the last couple of years. Kyrie on a couple of occasions. We did it late in the year. The most important thing is if there's something where a person needs that day off from a health standpoint early on, then they get it. That's a medical decision, and that's something that is probably decided well in advance. But if we're all healthy and we're all given the green light, we'll play, and then see how we're doing as the season goes along and see how that all adds up. But if there's an intense stretch of games, 8 games in 12 days, 13 days, and we deem, later in the month that Al should sit a game in that, we will. Or
so
Kyrie, or Gordon.
Map out in advance. It seems like most coaches I've talked to, they've already got that figured out.
Yeah, we do.
And is the plan for Gordon and Kyrie to play in back-to-backs? You guys have a bunch of those coming up in November.
The plan is for them to play back-to-backs. I think, Gordon will probably be a little limited early from a minute standpoint. Not in any big way, but we'll probably have to manage that just because he's been out for so long when you talk about the 13 months.
Daniel Theis first season got shortened with injury. He's back now. How does he look to you so far? What do you expect from him?
Yeah, I think that it's not just reintegrating Kyrie and Gordon. It's Daniel as well. I thought he had a really good year for us last year. He's playing a position where we'll play Al there some, but we'll play him. We'll play Baines. We'll play Robert Williams, Gershon. So it's a position where some nights those guys will get great opportunities and other nights they won't. One of the things that you appreciate the most about Daniel is he's just going to come and be him every night. Like, exactly what you're getting on both ends of the floor.
It's way early, but do you guys talk about your identity as a team and what you're trying to...
I think first of all, you can talk all you want, but you got to go out and do it. So in an ideal world, your identity is that you guard your butt off in every possession, and on the other end of the floor, you get a great shot every time down the floor. That's everybody's ideal. How you get there is a whole nother story, and how good you are at that. And so that's what we're going to find out.
How are you feeling about the progress with this many practice days so far? And then when do you kind of make the transition to start focusing on the opponent first of all?
I think you focus on your opponents all year and everything you do, and every drill has an ounce of that. You know, even if you're not saying it. But I think, you know, the focus has to continue to be on us right now, and but it's clear, like next week we've got a really tough week right out of the gate.
Coach, when you talk about all the players that could slide in at center, you just spoke about it, all of them bring a little bit different type of game and skill set to the table. How do you decide, you know, how you're going to utilize those different skills throughout the season when those guys all bring different things to the table?
Who you're playing against, how they're playing, how they're fitting in with the guys around them. You know, who has the most energy on that night, because maybe somebody else has played more minutes than you had hoped. There's all kinds of things that go into that.
You pretty much settle into your starting lineup in your core reserve unit and when people are coming into games yet, or is that still something that you're trying to figure out?
I've got a really good idea about how we'll do it.
Will you change the starters from night to night based on matchups, or do you want to stay more consistent?
Could be night to night, could be half to half, could be a lot of things.
Anyone restricted today?
Nobody. Robert Williams is still sick. He was sick, missed yesterday's film and missed today. He's hopefully going to be okay tomorrow, but it sounds like he came down with a bug.
Do you think, have you looked at the schedule? Well, obviously you have, but 3 games in 4 nights right out of the, or excuse me.
3 games in 5 nights,
5
right.
nights, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons why we went hard on Tuesday, Wednesday was to prepare for the back-to-back next Friday, Saturday. So similar timing. I mean, we're going to get in to New York really late, and you know, everybody has games like that. You got to perform. So I think that you prepare in these preseason practices for those situations, even if they're back-to-back noon practices. It's a little bit different.